At points over the past year, protests were pretty much a nightly occurrence on streets all over this country, in particular in the city of Portland. There were some 150 nights where there were regular protests in the streets. But early this month, every member of the Portland Police Bureau's rapid response team resigned, disbanding the unit that was responsible for crowd control in the city. This move came after a member of the team was indicted on an assault charge over an alleged use of excessive force. I want to bring in now the executive director of the Portland Police Association. There he is, Mr. Darrell Turner, who is also a retired Portland police officer. Sir, thank you so much for being here with us.
And thank you, TJ, for having me.
Those members of that rapid response team resigning, stepping down, all of them, was that more to send a message, or is a lot of this a fear of not wanting what they think is maybe undue scrutiny of their actions during protests?
Well, TJ, these concerns came up even longer ago than just this indictment. These concerns came up last fall. We sent a letter to the city in favor of doing something different and being able to supporting the rapid response team, because over 150 nights of rioting at the highest level of sustained violence that we have ever seen in the city of Portland. And day in and day out, our members were criticized and chastised by our elected officials, not supported. These are members that are volunteering to do this job, and they're volunteering with special training that they have to be able to be a buffer between the community and the riots that we saw those nights in our neighborhoods and our communities and our businesses. It's not an us and them mentality, it's an us mentality. We're all in this together with the community. We want to protect the community. We want to do the best job we possibly can with the tools that we have, and that's not what was happening, and that's why the team decided to resign when they did. They would have resigned in October. We convinced them not only not to resign, but they had a meeting with the mayor, who is the police commissioner. He made promises that they didn't keep, and so this got to a point where the breaking point was obviously this last few weeks, and they decided to resign from the voluntary positions.
Yeah, and Mr. Turner, I know there have been clashes there, or not the clashes in the street, but the clashes between sometimes those in government, city government, and the police department, where the officers sometimes don't often feel like they're supported. That has something to do with this decision, but you're not saying you're not against the scrutiny and the extra accountability. You're certainly in favor of that still.
Oh, definitely. We definitely are in favor of accountability, but more even than that, we want to make sure that people are able to exercise their constitutional rights every night when they're out there peacefully protesting. When riots start, we have to go ahead and we have to make sure that everybody is safe. The peaceful protesters, the people in the community, and the police officers. And that's all the rapid response team wants to do. They don't want to be handcuffed. They don't want to be tied down. They want to be able to do their jobs in an effective way, de-escalating with the least amount of force that they have to use to be able to do this, to keep our community safe.
Do you think that, I don't know, some will call it an anti-police sentiment, the calls to defund police. Do you think some of that sentiment, where do you hold any responsibility as a police officer? And there have been a lot of high-profile incidents, but do you think some of that sentiment, kind of some self-inflicted wounds by some behavior out there that some think is inappropriate by police forces?
Definitely the murder of George Floyd had a huge impact on the defund the police rhetoric. However, there are 800,000 law enforcement officers in this country who have hundreds of thousands of contacts every day. And those contacts turn out to be good, profitable contacts for the community. Like I said, this is not an us versus them mentality. This is a us mentality together. We need to all sit down at the table, have these hard conversations, and work on these solutions together. We can't rely on our elected officials to do this. This has to be law enforcement officers and the community working together to make sure that we're policing communities the way they want to be policed, but keeping them safe. Everybody loves public safety. Everybody wants safe communities. They want the kids to be able to play in the streets and in the parks and in the schoolyards, as well as just live in their neighborhoods in peace.
How's morale for the police officers in Portland?
Well, morale nationwide is tough for police officers, but they still go out every day. They do that job. The rapid response team, the volunteers, will still do that job. If there's a protest tomorrow, they'll be called upon and they'll be ordered to do the job that they normally did as volunteers. So nothing is going to change except for it's not a volunteer assignment. It's not a volunteer unit. They will go out and do that job and use the special training that they have to be able to do that job to keep the community safe and to keep the First Amendment rights of people safe so they can go out and protest peacefully and use their voices.
Very difficult conversations, a lot of frustration on both sides, but we do need to keep talking. So Executive Director, Portland Police Association, Mr. Dale Turner, we'll see you down the road, okay?
Thank you. We'll see you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.